A local high school senior takes the next step in his life today with a visit from a special guest. We bring you the exciting moment ahead. And hay farmers facing a pinch, what's causing production to slow down and how it could affect your grocery budget. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Hallie Jones. A renovation project in downtown Cameron uncovered a piece of history. KRHD News reporter Rebecca Fiedler introduces us to the business owner and the surprise she found.
A work crew was removing old plaster from the facade of an historic building in downtown Cameron earlier this week. What they found under that plaster is something to behold. A massive classic Coca-Cola mural and other vintage logos line the red brick walls of the Milam County AgriLife building, a building that's been a furniture shop, a shoe store, and many other businesses over the past 100 years. The building's new owner, third-generation Cameron native Erin Bradley, has dreamed since she was a little girl of opening a nail salon in her hometown. She never expected it would include this.
I've just done some preliminary Google searches, but we could look into restoration of the mural. But it does depend actually on the structural integrity of the bricks themselves, because they're probably 100 years old.
Bradley's efforts to bring life and community back to downtown Cameron are just like those of many new business owners planning to move into the city here in the next few months. Milam County government offices are vacating all the historic buildings they recently occupied, and local leaders are excited for the shops and restaurants that will come in their place, bringing life back to downtown while preserving history. Erin Bradley says that she and her family aren't quite sure what they're going to do with the mural as it's cracked and crumbling so badly. They do hope to find the original artist who made that mural and do something to pay homage to the history of the building and of downtown Cameron. Reporting in Cameron, Rebecca Fiedler, KRHD News.
Wheat producers across Texas are feeling the pinch this season as growers are facing numerous challenges. High fertilizer prices and ongoing drought conditions are taking their toll on wheat producers across the Lone Star State, putting a profitable crop season in doubt for many producers. The price of 1 ton of fertilizer has jumped nearly 80% since 2021. As a result, one tip Texas A&M AgriLife experts suggest in order to minimize fertilizer usage is to take soil samplings to determine pre-existing nitrogen levels already in your soil.
Some farmers will find they might have, maybe 30 and 40 and 50 pounds of nitrogen already available in their soil. And usually there's a little, but if there's more, then that nitrogen has never been worth more than it is today.
Trostel adds these challenges will likely add to higher food prices for shoppers in the near future. This week, we have once again teamed up with the News Literacy Project to shine a light on better information consumption and sharing. Part of that includes spotting fake news and misinformation. We take a look at the risk of weaponizing information.
Consuming information in a digital echo chamber can make it easier to fall prey to misinformation and conspiracy.
People need to be aware, just as aware, of their own biases when they consume information.
Helen Lee Bouygues is the president of the Reboot Foundation, an organization focused on critical thinking and combating misinformation. She says their research shows that while 95% of people believe they're adept at identifying fake news, only 1% of them use tools to verify the information they're consuming.
There's a problem in the link between people understanding that social media is going to charge you up, and yet people feel very comfortable that they're very capable of identifying fake news.
Two examples she points to are the January 6th insurrection and continued misinformation about coronavirus and vaccines. But she says anyone can be at risk.
Our studies have shown that heavier use of social media be it right-leaning or left-leaning, you're equally susceptible to fake news.
A recent study found that between August 2020 and January 2021, misinformation on Facebook got 6 times the number of likes, shares, and interactions on the platform as did trustworthy news sources.
There was a rumor that spread a lot on Twitter and other places that the CEO of Pfizer had actually chosen to not be vaccinated. And you can imagine how that would really resonate with people. What does that tell us about the safety of it? And that is, of course, completely false.
Craig Silverman is a journalist who's been reporting on online rumors, disinformation, and media manipulation for more than a decade. He's the author of a series of handbooks on information verification that are available for free online. Healthy skepticism, he says, is key.
When somebody has sent you something, read it. Notice your reaction to it, whether you're instantly accepting or rejecting it. Take a moment and ask yourself, well, where did this come from?
Silverman says there are tools you can use to verify, for example, the sources of images that could be used inaccurately.
You can either point to the address of an image online or upload an image to tools like Google Reverse Image Search or a tool like TinEye or Yandex Image Search. And it will actually show you all the other places online that image has been found in their database.
Stopping or at least slowing the spread of false and misleading information is a responsibility, experts say, we all must shoulder.
It's not about having to learn all these new techniques. It's about actually just being conscious of the information you're consuming and then passing on.
I'm Usher Qureshi reporting.
Some of the best historically black colleges and universities and medical schools in the country are part of a new scholarship program. It's one of the largest of its kind. The Novartis Foundation and Thurgood Marshall College Fund are offering $20 million over the next decade to these schools. The money is for research grants, mentorships, and scholarships. Sophomores through grad school students can apply for $10,000 a year.
Is one way of alleviating a barrier. This is a financial barrier that stands in the way of students from pursuing their dreams.
Harry Williams has been working with black schools for more than 30 years. He says it's an amazing time for them. He says disparities highlighted by the pandemic and social unrest have put these institutions in a positive spotlight. There's also a lot more interest from black students in pursuing careers in healthcare.
And by seeing that the resources are now coming into these communities so that students can attain access to this higher education and the importance of having members of your community that look like you, that's in your community, to help build trust and help to alleviate some of the misperceptions and anxieties.
When it comes to the Thurgood Marshall College Fund Scholarship, about 2/3 of recipients are the first in their families to go to college. Research shows a college education improves health and income and lowers worker disparities in critical industries. You can find out how to apply at tmcf.org. The application window for this year closes at the end of February. Ahead in our lineup, what researchers are learning about how to address one of the most common long COVID symptoms and how they hope a new drug can treat it. Fires are now becoming a threat that can both impact urban and suburban neighborhoods. Some places are bringing in new building codes to better prepare homes. But as Vanessa Machanya shows us, the changes concern people nationwide who worry about affordable housing.
Even for experts, watching the Marshall Fire rip through suburban neighborhoods in Colorado was a chilling indication of what wildfires are truly capable of.
This is a well-populated area, there's well-manicured lawns, and the fire still pushed through. So it's a good reminder that nobody is really immune to it.
Captain Thomas Schutz is the public information officer for CAL FIRE in San Diego County. One of his main jobs is getting the message out to the public about how fire prevention starts at the home. From creating defensible spaces and clearing brush and wood chips near their home to making sure everything is up to code, both homeowners and developers play a huge role in this.
These are privately owned properties, and so we're really counting on folks to do their part on their property to clear around their homes to give themselves a fighting chance.
Over the next 2 weeks, CAL FIRE is going to be updating the state's fire maps the first time since 2007. This is a big deal because these maps designate the fire risk in every area around the state, and more urban and suburban areas are expected to see that risk level become elevated. This will come with more restrictive building codes and higher insurance costs.
Things could get harder for folks as far as buying and selling homes, as far as getting insured, and we know that's always kind of the unfortunate part that comes along with it. But ultimately, we want to encourage people to be safe.
Now you have this boom or this huge demand and very little housing.
While this may seem like a strictly California issue, the conversations this is sparking represent a problem that experts foresee playing out around the country in years to come. The impasse between the need to build more homes to help the affordable housing crisis versus the need to restrict housing development because of fire risk.
We've got to put our arms around that and really wrestle and figure out what are our priorities, what we really need to have, and how do we support families.
Lori Filer is the president and CEO of the Building Industry Association of San Diego. She's watched low and middle income families get pushed out of urban centers because of home and rent prices. She believes the codes in place are solid the way they are, and the answer is not making them more restrictive or expensive, but replacing older, outdated homes.
The houses that we're building now are more water wise, they're more energy efficient, they're more fire safe.
One thing that really worries firefighters is escape corridors and overcrowding. When evacuations are ordered, people need to get out, and they need to get out fast. And congestion on the roads could be deadly. Builders believe planning efficient evacuation routes is possible with more collaboration between the state and the developers.
We are the solution. We're not the evil developer. We are the solution to building the housing. Let's work together.
The issue of balancing housing needs and fire safety is a complex one. Moving forward, Thomas hopes the decisions made are made in the name of safety.
Sometimes you have very little time to react and to evacuate, and sometimes you have no time and that fire is at your doorstep. Do you want to have a home that can potentially protect your family, at least for the few minutes while the fire is blowing by, to give you a chance to get out, or do you want to have a place that's going to be a death trap? And that's really what it comes down to.
I'm Vanessa Bashani reporting.
As we take a look outside right now, you can see things not looking too bad. It is partly to mostly cloudy across the Brazos Valley, and we will see mid and high level clouds increase tonight. However, the low levels are so dry as the system approaches, I really don't think we're going to see much in the way of shower activity, maybe a sprinkle or two. Better chances will be southwest of the Brazos Valley for tonight. We sure could use some rain. It's not as bad as it is farther to the northwest of us, but still some moderate drought across the Brazos Valley, even some dry conditions as you head toward Cameron. I do think by next week, though, we're going to get a chance to moisten things up just a bit. Clouds and radar showing that some of those high clouds continue to stream across our area. Notice not many radar echoes with it, so again, a couple of sprinkles. That will probably be about it. You can see a couple of those there across the western parts of central Texas, going back into the Big Bend. Main disturbances up to the northwest. That will continue down to the southeast, but it just doesn't have much to work with. As we take a look at what we are anticipating by the morning hours, any clouds will start to decrease across the area, and running through Friday, going right into Saturday, I think we're going to have lots of sunshine Friday afternoon going into Saturday afternoon as well. So very nice weekend on the way, and we'll need to enjoy it because things will be changing as we head into next week. So tonight, temperatures will be falling into the 30s for you, and we'll go mid to upper 30s, so just above freezing for most of us. Some lower 40s down near Brenham. And then tomorrow, highs will be into the middle 50s. If you like the number 56, you like this map a lot, and that's probably where we'll be sitting as we head through the day tomorrow. But as we get into Saturday and Sunday, it's going to warm up even more. How about 10 degrees warmer on Saturday at 66, 68 degrees on Sunday with lots of sunshine. Then here comes the rain on Monday, especially by the afternoon hours. Some of that could be locally heavy. Tuesday, things will quiet down, and then we may have another chance as we head into Wednesday and Thursday as a strong cold front moves in.
It's estimated there could be tens of millions of long haulers around the world. But as Maya Rodriguez tells us, there's now a clinical drug trial underway that may be a solution to long COVID fatigue.
For those who've had COVID, it can be a long haul, even after recovering from the infection.
We're compelled by the science. We're compelled by the need.
Bill Henshaw is president and CEO of Excella Therapeutics near Boston, which is currently in a phase 2A clinical trial of a treatment for long COVID. The main symptom they are targeting? Fatigue.
Think of your cellular energy levels as like a rechargeable battery. you need to draw upon that battery, and then you need to replenish it. And that's what your body normally does through mitochondria.
Most people who get COVID recover from it, but about 30% of people infected do not, many left with damage to their mitochondria, the so-called rechargeable battery, leading to fatigue.
Our goal is to be able to repair that battery so it can hold that charge again and people can return to their normal life.
Across the Atlantic, in the UK, that clinical trial is now underway at Oxford University.
The sheer number of people who are affected by COVID means that long COVID is likely to be a substantial problem.
Dr. Betty Rahman is a cardiologist and a clinical research fellow at Oxford's Radcliffe Department of Medicine and is conducting the clinical trial.
We know that long COVID is not restricted to those with severe disease, and that people with even mild symptoms during their early infection can continue to have symptoms in the long term.
The 40 people participating in the testing at Oxford will either get the treatment or the placebo for 28 days. Then researchers will look at how it impacts their fatigue.
And it's likely that if this is a positive trial, that it can substantially change the quality of life of millions of people across the world.
A world still reeling from a pandemic 2 years on. I'm Maya Rodriguez.
A final check of our lineup. The waste and environmental impact involving our clothes is getting new attention. How brands could start being regulated to hold them more accountable, and the steps we can all take when we shop. As we continue to see the negative impacts of climate change, we're finding new ways to harness renewable energy. The latest in the U.S. involves waves. The Department of Energy just announced $25 million to fund 8 projects testing this. They will focus on wave energy research, along with creating and advancing technology that converts waves into energy. It'll all take place at a facility off the coast of Oregon. Testing is expected to start in 2024. We're seeing efforts to make more clothing brands sustainable, and they're marketing their products with words like carbon positive, organic, or vegan. But the industry doesn't have a standard around sustainability.
I think there's more visibility to the consumer now, so they're asking more questions, particularly also with younger consumers that are asking these questions about a lot of the products that they use, and they want to be more conscious with their choices. So I believe it is a consumer demand, which usually drives a lot of change in fashion.
Tasha Lewis studies sustainability throughout the apparel supply chain and says it's fragmented. The clothes may be designed in different places from where the fabric is made, and the company may not own the factory where the clothes are ultimately put together. New York State is considering a bill to set broad sustainability regulations for the industry. This would ultimately hold brands accountable for their role in climate change. Lewis sees the potential for this impacting the clothes we all buy.
Most of the retailers in the world would really have to take a look at what they're doing and how they're doing it if they want to do business in New York. And so New York City, for example, is a place where a lot of flagship stores are located, offices, headquarters, satellite offices. So I think this is really a way to kind of push forward with making change more impactful and widespread in the industry.
In most recent estimates, the fashion industry produces 2 to 8% of global carbon emissions. That's according to the UN Environment Program. Another issue is waste. Landfills received 11.3 million tons of mostly discarded clothes in 2018. That's according to the EPA.
The best thing I still say is to donate it to a charity, a place that recycles, or resell it on some of the platforms that are out there like Depop, ThreadUp, just so it has another life, and not just to throw it or just put it in the landfill where a lot of things end up, unfortunately.
And before buying something, she says it's helpful to think about how long you're going to wear it and if the fabric content can be recycled like polyester. Well, tiny homes aren't new, but the way one community is working to solve the affordable housing crisis is they're giving extra money to homeowners who put them in their backyard. Tomorrow, how it's providing help and income.
World News Tonight is just ahead, and we're back in 30 minutes for KRHD News at 6 o'clock. Until then, have a good